her into the ward, desperate to find her way out. But the hallway stretched impossibly long, twisting back on themselves. The signs no longer made sense. Whispers swelling into a chant. The walls vibrated as if the hospital itself was alive. She bolted for the stairs and cabinet, and saw the other Evelyn, the one from the bed, staring back with that same faint smile. The staff still doesn't speak of Ward C, though the sealed doors remain, but every so often, patients report hearing footsteps at night, or humming voices drifting through the walls, and a few whisper, superstition, and its walls carried layers of history like sediment. During the day, it looked tired but harmless. Fluorescent lights buzzing, volunteers pushing carts of books and flowers, children tugging at their parents' hands in the waiting room. At night it transformed. The corridors stretched too long. The hum of the lights turned into a drone. Clara went to check the supply closet near 317 and didn't return. They found her an hour later wandering the stairwell, her face blank, muttering, "He wanted me to stay." Nora couldn't shake the image of the man on the bed. She started researching old hospital archives, digging through yellowed files in the library. She found references to a patient named Elias Vance, admitted in 1959 for pneumonia. Notes described him as difficult, prone to wandering the halls at night. The last entry ended abruptly. Patient unaccounted for, presumed left AMA. But there was no discharge, no follow-up. Just gone. The more Nora read, the more she noticed strange omissions. Other patients on the ward had also vanished during that year. Staff had resigned suddenly. And though the official story pointed to poor record-keeping, she couldn't ignore the way Elias's name appeared over and over in frantic margin notes. 317 unsaved. Shifts soon after, begging for reassignment to another floor. Officially, she cited exhaustion, burnout. Unofficially, she refused to ever walk that corridor again. Yet even in other wings, she sometimes hears her name whispered on the intercom late at night. And when she passes a window, she swears she sees Elias's reflection standing behind her, patient wristband dangling, still waiting for medical. Though the bed is officially empty. Some nurses ignore it, others pray quietly when it starts. But Nora knows better. She knows someone is still lying there, waiting, and if you answer the call, you might never come back out. May liked the way the hospital sounded at 2 in the morning. Not the bustle and clang of daytime, not the visiting hour chatter. Night again into steady breath. In 409, Mr. Alvarez coughed once and sighed. "Do you want me to call facilities?" Anna asked. "Later," May said. "It's fine." The next hour shrugged itself forward. The pumps kept their secrets. The vital signs cart squeaked politely. Time stretched in the hospital way. Thin, then thick, then thin again. At 3:10, Red's neb ran dry. May drifted in to swap it. "You lose your infomercial?" she teased. "It's back-to-back ads for knives," Red said, tapping his narrow chest, which rose like a bird's. "I can't be trusted with sharp objects." "Then it's my lucky night that albuterol isn't edged," May said, popping a new vial. Red watched her hands like he wasn't sure they were really there. His eyes kept tracking to the ceiling. "You hear it too?" she said without looking up. He nodded. "It sounds like... You know the subway?" He held his palm to his chest. Under my ribs, the whooshing had returned, fainter but insistent. The air in the hall cooled a degree, the way it does before a door opens somewhere at the end of a long tunnel. Another thunk bang. Something in May's back went tight. At 3:17, Mr. Alvarez's pulse ox dipped to 88. The number changed with a lazy indifference. May stepped into his room, turned up his flow, checked his tubing for kinks. Her tablet buzzed. 4:15 alarm. Apnea. She sent Anna. 4-1 pinged. DSAT. Then 4:13. The alarms were set to gentle, per the quiet hour's directive. They vibrated in her pocket like bees. "Not all at once," she murmured. She liked her emergencies sequenced. This, then that, then that. The hospital was bartering with her, as if breath were a currency it distributed with its own stingy logic. When she stepped back into the corridor, a fog had pooled there, faint but visible, as if the warm exhalations from the rooms had nowhere to go. The ceiling vents exhaled a cold that didn't stir the fog, like cold breath pressed over warm mouths. Something moved inside the fog. Not a person, the fog itself, drawing toward the tube terminal, gathering like steam above a kettle. Thunk. The tube carrier slammed in the cradle again. The hood trembled. May arrived with a speed she didn't know she owned. She wrenched the hood off and unscrewed the lid. Inside, another paper mask with fresh marks, 5 hash lines neat and dark. Beneath it, a card index, the kind nurses used when everything was still on paper. The card was browning with age. Patients in old